cares, hey?
All right, so I'm here in Silole Sanctuary with Will Knocker and Poppy. Poppy, who grew up in this area, and Will, who's lived here for the last 18 years.
Right.
Okay, so Will, I'm going to start with you. What are you doing with your glasses right now?
Cleaning them.
You're cleaning them.
So I can see the audience
You're
better.
cleaning them with
hanky.
a hanky that he just used to remove a black widow spider from the back of the seat that he was about to put me on.
Paula's making it up as she goes along.
No, that's a true story.
That's a true story.
Okay.
And he threw the black widow spider out into the bush live, and he was removing what he thought was a little acacia flower bud, but in fact
Blossom.
was actually 2 egg cases,
Which you will put so the viewers can see.
which
right?
I took a photograph of. They were surprising, and I'm sure that we're going to have now a explosion of baby black widow spiders
on my back. That should be interesting. Viewers enjoy.
So, Will, you've lived here for a very long time. Tell me, what's it been like living out here? Why do you live in this place?
Well, I came here by circumstance, but I've ended up living here. It's part of Nairobi National Park, and it's a very beautiful place to live, as you know, Paula, because you live here as well.
I live on the other side, and
The other end.
Yeah, and when I came down here, I almost got lost.
Jazz, could you get me another glass of wine, please?
She needs a little bit of
Dutch courage. Go on. So, okay, it's me speaking. Okay, so
when I got here, one of the first things I saw was, or heard actually, was a lot of birds, and then we saw a little brown bird with a yellow chest and a black spot that was battering a little worm to death on the branches. What was that?
a caterpillar, not a worm.
Oh, was it a
Let's get it
caterpillar?
right. She's the doctor of zoology, but anyway, we've got to keep them in
It
line.
looked like a worm to me, but okay. So you're obviously a bird fanatic.
Not really. I'm a botanist,
In a box.
which is what you did your master's on,
Next to the
Ficus sycamoris, right?
On the left.
And but I'm a amateur botanist because we've got our place at the coast where I learnt my botany. But, I'm into everything, and in today's concrete world, I think we need to conserve all aspects of life, so trees, spiders, whatever, and we have everything. Going back to your question, here we get everything that's in the park, which is one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have everything you get in the park, we get here.
So you had some visitors last night, or this morning?
Buffaloes.
How many?
Yeah, we did. Well, Nasera, who's prone to exaggeration, said 200. Let's halve it. 100 buffaloes. Did you see them?
I saw the evidence of them all
well,
over the place, but I didn't see them.
So I had some Wageni. They had to walk to Kitengela Glass. Thanks, Jazz. So they had to, Mwangi and Co had to shoo the buffaloes out of the way for them to get to Kitengela Glass. So they've gone further away in the sanctuary. But they're here at the moment. What is happening, Paul, at the moment is the park through which Poppy and I came through yesterday. All the roads, sadly, like all roads in Kenya, have been very damaged by this heavy rain that we've had, and so it took us a long time. But coming through the park, it is an ocean of grass, and as you know, the grazers, the plains game, so-called zebras, wildebeest, gazelles, they don't like long grass because they're afraid, and hartebeest, Congoni, they're afraid of predators. So it's this ocean of grass, so the wildlife has all moved out of the park. So there are very few grazers apart from buffaloes.
They've all come south, basically.
They've all come south, but there's nowhere to go, of course. And I think we've got a real problem. I'm thinking hard about that at the moment. Last week we lost 2 lions because with nothing to eat in the park, the lions have to eat something. So they also go out of the park. You heard about that.
When you say lost lions, let's be frank.
They were killed. Yeah, they were killed.
Yep.
But this Nairobi National Park is in the middle of a city, and so if any creatures leave the park, they're in the city, and their existence and lives are at risk. So it's just a natural process. Nairobi National Park is already fenced off, if not fenced by fences, fenced by the city on the southern sides, Kitengela and Ongata Rongai. And so any wildlife that goes out of the park, we're in a Lake Nakuru national park situation where all the wildlife is included in the it is as ecosystem. There is no dispersal area apart from sheep and goat land, right? So that we have a big problem. So all these creatures are going out. The zebra are very brave. They go for miles. There are a lot in Sholinge. Dave Maskell, my neighbour, has just been out in Sholinge doing lion lights out there. He says there's lots of eland and wildebeest and zebra, but it's a long way from the park. There are a lot of people there. Zebra being poached for meat. Look at the price of nyama today. 200 bob a kilo. Who can afford that? So if you get zebra meat on the market for 50 bob, you buy it. And no, it's not warthog that we're having for lunch.
I'm going to go and check on the lunch. Hold on.
I've been invited to lunch at Will's house. Will, you also have other guests. I'm just going to quickly swing round. Jazz, sorry, you're going to be in the picture now because I just want to show everybody Will's amazing house, which is literally looks like it's...
How many followers have you got, Paula?
I have thousands of followers on Facebook. And of course what we'll do is also take this onto YouTube and then we'll share it more. Because I think that it's extraordinary. You've lived here for 18 years. You know a lot about the animals and what's happened over time in this area.
Exactly.
It's been
fascinating.
Yeah, I've only lived here for 11 years and I've seen some change in terms of the development along our little road, our track out here into the
changes,
bush. Yeah. But it feels quite wild still. Tell me about the changes that you've seen.
Well, Silole Sanctuary is privately owned by the family of the late John Keane, and so we have no development here, which is in direct contrast with the rest of Nairobi, where there's a lot of development and building going on everywhere. So literally we are one of the few areas that is undeveloped in Nairobi. So we have got buildings all the way up to our boundary. The city is filling in on the southern boundary of us, which is, where it used to be the dispersal area. When I came 18 years ago, there were wildebeest used to be able to come through into the park. No, that hasn't happened for 10 years.
How big is Silole Sanctuary?
About 400 acres, do you think? Something like that, yeah.
So John Keane his name sounds like he is a guy from, I don't know, England or something. Tell me about John Keane.
John Keane was he's late now, he died last year. He was the MP for Kajiado North. His mother was a Samburu and his father was a German. And he was a politician, and most people will know him from the Moi era, perhaps even the Kenyatta era. Anyway, he bought this area from at the time when the group ranch which owned it was being split up into private property. And he bought this 400 acres for his lodge that he built with some partners in the 70s, mid-70s.
Maasai Lodge.
Yes, and so the sanctuary has natural boundaries, Kiserian River on the southern side, and the Mpakasi River, what you called the Sacred River, which it is, although it's full of rubbish from Rongai and Kiserian at the moment, but it's still a very beautiful river. Pity we can't walk the viewers down here because it's absolutely mega, isn't it?
It's
so biodiverse.
So Poppy, quick, I'm going to focus on you for a second because you grew up. Yes. You grew up down here. What was it like growing up in such a wild place?
It was amazing. Yeah, best childhood ever. And we used to walk to school every day. At the time, I don't think I realised how dangerous it was walking through buffalo territory, but I'm very grateful for that. Only got chased once by a buffalo in the garden. Amazing. But it's nothing like what it was. However, how many years ago was that? 17 years ago, maybe? Yeah. Something like that.
So you have seen some changes as well?
Definitely. There's a lot more development.
But it's still pretty extraordinary that we have this in the city of Nairobi.
Which is amazing.
You commented earlier that the skyline of Nairobi has changed dramatically. It doesn't look anything like what it did just 20 years ago. Yeah, well,
we see the city at a safe distance. Maybe you'll take a picture from the cottage in a minute because it's a wonderful view of the city. At a safe, in inverted commas, distance with the park between us and the city. But, we're being hemmed in. The city's filling in to the south of us, and the SGR is going through the middle of the park right in front of us here. So the pressure is on in Nairobi National Park, but I think we have to be optimistic. The SGR is a fact. There's nothing we can do about it. At least the wildlife is able to move underneath it. Similarly, going back to what I was saying earlier, when all the wildlife leaves, it's at risk. And that which comes back and survives, and that which doesn't. And that is a natural process, and only 120 square kilometers less with the SGR. It has a limited space. So, the park is chock-a-block full. We have 1,000 buffalo who are here. They don't move. They're here, they're going to do something about the management of this long grass. They'll soon get that done. That's why the buffalo are here, because it's short grass plain here.
So, in the next 10, 20 years, do you see the park being more important for Kenya, or do you see the park becoming less important as we become more developed and richer?
No, I feel the park is an incredible asset for Nairobi, will continue to be so, despite the bypass, which I love driving on, which you fought so hard against. Well done, you, Paula. You do a great job. We all look up to you. But this infrastructure, we are in the middle of the city. I think that the park has to make concessions in that respect. People need bypasses, railways, and so on. To answer your question, I think it's going to remain to be an amazing asset for the city. It's going to guarantee fresh air in an increasingly polluted city, as in the industrial area. Day before yesterday, an absolute nightmare as far as air pollution was concerned. Right. Horrifying. So that is really important for us. And I see it as, soon, if the government and you, people like you and me, can enable it, I think Nairobi National Park should now be made a World Heritage Site, and I think it's going to be a wonderful asset now and going on into the future, and very, very valuable in all sorts of ways. And in the most important way in which it's going to be a great asset for the city is in the middle of the city. You're going to have a home for the yellow-breasted apis, for the black widow spider, for the buffalo, the endangered black rhino, your lions. We've got a herd of 4,000 zebra here, wild horses in the middle of a city. So, who ever heard of that?
I love that.
I thought you...
Is that the apis?
No, that's Cape Robin chat, or spotted morning warbler is what it is, I think.
Wait, one or the other? How can it be one or the other?
Because I'm not great on my songbirds.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me something nice about
spotted
mimicry.
Morning thrush, they call it now. Let's be precise, right. Otherwise I'll be picked up by all the birders. Sorry, Washington, Washira et al. If you're watching.
All right. Will being cautious here. Okay, Will, I want to hear your wildest story. What is the most amazing or scariest thing that ever happened to you?
Here in Silole?
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell a story just from a few days ago, which I told the girls last night, that in the evening I come out, just pan out to the front door here. So in the evening, after a couple of cold beers, come out here for a pee.
Oh my, for a pee.
Open the door the other day, and then I walked out of the door there, and then I heard a big cat. So I went back in inside, went to the loo instead.
A lion, for sure. Probably, or maybe a leopard.
Or a leopard. Big cat. I didn't stick around.
You didn't stick around.
Check it out, Paula.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you, Will. I'm going to finish this now, and thanks everyone for watching.